I will too.
So yeah, Katie, chance if we can try something with some...
Just a wee bit.
Two?
I lived with a very artistic set of parents. They were very conservative parents, but they grew up in the land, and my dad was a grazier and managing quite a lot of properties in the New England area. But Mum decided to buy an art shop, and we just had this artistic breeze blowing through the house. We were all doing instruments and dance and art and drama from a very young age. And I think I started learning at 3, the violin. And I was in my first stage production at the age of 5. I was learning piano by the age of 4, and I just loved it. I thrived on it.
See, I feel like that's too slow. I'm going to have a nap.
That's 84.
Mum and Dad weren't at all pushy. It was more they just provided opportunities for us to grow and to thrive. And I think for me, I loved being on the stage, not in a showing off way. I just felt so at home connecting with people through that form of art, and I loved it. And then had a really inspiring music teacher in my high school years, and she taught me how to compose. And I was actually going to be a professional flautist. That was actually going to be my career. I studied that right through for the HSC, and that's actually where everyone was expecting me to go. And I had a real passion for young people and songwriting, and I actually thought, I want to teach. I actually want to teach and connect with young people and empower them.
For a little while.
So we'll get ready for another one.
Yep.
So Brand New Day is the title track of my 4th studio album, and I've been doing this for about 20 years. So I've been working like this for quite some time, and I just love what I do and love what I'm called to do. But Brand New Day is a song about hope. It's a song about new beginnings, and it's a song about facing the future with the hope that we have in Jesus. And as corny and as cliched as that sounds, we had gone through a really, really challenging time, and I had one of our family members who was incredibly sick, and I had spent a lot of nights up with them and trying to help them and nurture them over a period of years. And this song was actually written to encourage them, hang on, night is gone, but dawn is broken. And there's this beautiful passage in Scripture, and it says, joy comes with the morning. And there's this, I think, this whole new beginning that we can have in Christ that can just be renewed every day as we get up. And it was my encouragement to them to say, hang on, in the middle of this, the storm is gone, rain has fallen, but night is gone and dawn has broken. Hang in there. God is in the middle of this with us.
Straight last two buttoned up. Yeah, that's me.
It's sounding great in the control room.
Okay.
Really, really nice.
1, 2.
I remember my mom would say, keep your chin up, it'll be fine one day. As I'm watching the morning light this time, I'm thinking she might be right. The road ahead we will never know. You and I can take it slow. Night is gone and the morning's here. Hold my hand, let us go, my dear. And Yes, it's all right now. We will rise somehow. It's a brand new day. Oh, oh. And it's all right now. Yes, it's all right now. We will rise somehow. It's a brand new day. Oh yeah, it's a brand new day. Oh, oh, it's a brand new day. It's a brand new day.
Very cool. How do we feel about that one?
Yeah, I reckon that was at 92.5.
5.
92.5.
2.5.
90.
You can hit the 90.
Definitely 90. Well, not only do I do songwriting and performing, but I love to equip others. And so one of the other things that I do is I spend a lot of time working with local churches. And I travel around and I work with music teams and creative arts teams and develop their skills and their talents, and particularly work as a consultant with senior ministers in developing their creative arts ministry. And I love doing that.
We'll talk about that early.
Does that mean it's time to roll? I think it's time
I haven't always been, I guess, in the church, but I grew up in a church family, I guess as a good way of explaining my upbringing. I went to Sunday school. Mum used to be in the church choir, but I started to be involved with some Christians who actually live just a couple of doors down from me, and I just let me hang out at their house, and I became involved in youth group, and that's really was quite significant in me deciding to follow Jesus in about year 10. For me, the connection between faith and music, it's quite a complex one. I think that the way I've grown up, I'm very wired in that way. I think I'm wired to express myself musically. For some people it's dance, for some people it's drawing, for some people it's silence. But for me it's definitely musical, and that can be sitting down and playing a piece and actually praying while I'm playing it, not actually uttering any words, but very prayerfully playing that and meditating on scripture while I do it. Or it can actually be writing a song that expresses my love for God or expresses almost a prayer about a situation. So for me, it's quite a beautiful, complex reality. And I think for me too, it's been a really growth of maturity to also express my faith without music. So to be able to express it in different ways in servanthood. And I think when I was younger, often you'd go to a church, and if the music wasn't right, But as you're growing older, and more mature in the faith, is that the be-all or end-all to your faith? Do you need music to actually express your faith, or can you express it and connect to God and encounter God in other ways? And I think that's been a real step of maturity as I've been growing up. I think there's something about music that crosses boundaries that is quite incredible. I think there's ways that music can move the heart that sometimes nothing else seems to be able to, and the Spirit of God seems to work through that. Singing gives the soul a voice. And I think it's a beautiful phrase, because there's something that happens when we sing. And even if you're just watching people sing at an international rugby game or something like that, there's something that happens that moves people, that crosses boundaries. Simple Life was the title track of my last album, before the one that was released this year. And Simple Life is a journal of songs through a really challenging time. And Simple Life was about getting your priorities right. Simple Life was really a prayer of my husband and mine to just start thinking through, what really matters. what really matters. And I think we've got 3 kids and we're in that job zone and you're busy and life is hectic and crazy at times, and it's so easy to get so caught up that we forget or just don't have time for people and for God. And I think it was a bit of we need to just take stock again and reevaluate what really matters, love, faith and hope in God, and are those things embedded in our family, in us every day. So that's what that song's about. It's a real special song. I really love that song.
He loves his job, he loves his kids. He loves his wife, he just thinks she's beautiful. He works all day, he comes home late. Still he tries to find the time to say, hey babe, you doing okay? Night after night, he sleeps and he tries to dream what could be. Night after night, he wakes and he cries, if I only had time. And he says, let's get back to the simple life. Let the kids just run and play. You and I can talk all day. Let's get back to the simple life of love and faith and hope in God. Baby, think it sounds so good. She's a sister and a wife. She's a mother and a child. It makes her smile. Loves a home, a kids, a man, and she just wants to understand who she is, who she's gonna be. Night after night, she wanders inside and prays for just a little while. Thoughts feel the hell as she lies in bed. If I only had time. And she says, let's get back to the simple life. Let the kids just run and play. You and I can talk all day. Let's get back to the simple life of love and faith and hope in God. Baby, think it sounds so good. Let's let it all go. Take a little time. Let's find out what really matters. Let's try to take it slow. Let it all slide. Well, I'm telling you, baby, let's get back to the simple life. Let's get back to the simple life. Oh, baby, let's get back to the simple life. Love and faith and hope in God. Baby, think it sounds so good. Baby, know it sounds so good.
Yeah, I think
Nice.
I think instrumentally that was heaps better. I wasn't happy with my vocal. I got tired again in the breakdown. That's all right.
I think people always want to kind of lock you into a genre, and I guess when I first started, I was definitely more acoustic pop, acoustic rock, and as I've developed and grown through the 20 years I've been doing this, definitely a real country and folky, almost bluegrass feel has come through. I think I just connect with that style. I think that I'm a storyteller, and I think that's probably why I love to tell stories. And I I also love the simple melodies, beautiful melodies. And I think that's probably why I gravitate to that. I grew up in my late mid to early teens listening to Amy Grant because that's what my sister's record collection was, and she'd gone off to uni, and so I'd often listen to her, and she's so got that feel. And then I started getting to Alison Krauss and Jewel in her early days, and so definitely there's that influence. When I'm songwriting, there's quite a few ways that I actually go about it. There are some times that I can't even explain the process, that it just actually happens and you give birth to a song. There have been songs I've written in full at the beach in the back of a novel, and that song hasn't changed at all from the moment I wrote it down with all the sand and the mess to the next time I recorded it. It just stayed the same. It literally just gave birth. And Follow is one of those songs. Follow, I actually wrote in the car on a road trip to Armidale with my family in the car, and that song was pretty much scrawled into a notepad. I had the melody very clearly in my head, got to Armidale, went to a friend's place who had a guitar, and we recorded it. It was very much that way. But there have been other times that the songs have actually been crafted over years, and that editing and rewriting process has been a painful, painful labour, and it's been rewritten and tweaked and then left and then brought back again. And so sometimes it can be quite a complex and long process. Follow is actually one of my favourite songs from the latest album, Brand New Day. And like I said, I wrote this song in the car on a road trip to Armidale, and it literally just fell out of me. And it was a love song to God. And there's this little part in Hebrews that talks about, never will I leave you, never will I forsake you. And that passage has always stuck with me about the faithfulness of God, that really, no matter how much money or how much stuff I might accumulate or how much I might try to build an empire, it will all be destroyed ultimately. However, God will never leave us or forsake us, and that faithfulness has really touched my heart many, many times. And I wrote this song, I guess, as a love song to God, and it's one of my favourites. It's a beautiful song.
Dreams of a diamond ring, but I don't mind. You could give me the world shining like a pearl, but feeling fine. Funny that I don't want anything else but to be with you. I don't need anyone else but you. And I will follow in the morning, and I will follow through the night. I will follow wherever you lead me. I will follow through the fire. I will follow till I die. Every girl needs just a little piece from time to time, to think and be and pray and dream. Now I'm doing fine, don't you know? Being here with you is the sweetest thing, and I know that you will never leave me. And I will follow in the morning, and I will follow through the night. I will follow wherever you lead me. I will follow through the fire. I will follow girl needs just a little peace.
Cool. My fire was better in that one.
Overall, how did we feel?
I think that recording the way we've done today is a really unique experience. I mean, normally we're in a studio. I mean, I recorded my latest album, Brand New Day. It was recorded in Nashville. All the instrumental stuff was done in Nashville, and I was in Australia. And I did the vocals in Australia, and bits and pieces were added. And the title track was actually recorded separately, you know, over the oceans over a period of time as well. And, you know, it's how things are done. Technology is so great these days that we can, you know, I didn't actually have to see my producer. He was probably really relieved about that, but I didn't have to see my producer at all in the production of this album. We just worked remotely, which was fantastic. However, there is something incredibly special about being in a room together and connecting musically. And I think there's a whole lot of levels of listening and connection that actually happen when you play live and record live that is so much harder to get otherwise transferred to a recording. And I think you bounce off each other and you're watching each other, and an energy is developed within the music. And I think that's an incredible experience. So it's so great to have this opportunity to record live like that. The instrumental piece, Sunday, was written quite a few years ago. I can't even remember when it was written. It's probably about 15 years ago. And it's actually interesting. I haven't ever recorded it. I've played it live quite a lot, and people have quite an incredible response to it. The story behind Sunday, I think, is probably the most significant thing, because people probably wonder, well, how can an instrumental piece be an inspirational piece inspired by God? You know, it hasn't got any lyric. You're not telling me the story of God in it. However, this song is actually this piece of music is very story-based, and it's actually written inspired by the Easter story. In particular, the women walking to the tomb. And that's the first part, sort of the part A of the piece, when they're quite reflective and there's grief and they're a little lost. There's still beauty there. They're still touched by God, but they're wondering what's next. And then the next part of the piece is where they realise that the tomb is empty, and almost this recollection of what Jesus has said, all suddenly coming back. And then the joy and the exhilaration and the energy that then came from that, as the disciples over the next while realised that Jesus had risen.
that one.
Yeah, okay.